Hello.
Hi.
Look at that. We're here. We're live. Everybody, welcome to Highlight Heroes, the show where Parker and I drink paint water and talk to our friends.
Don't throw me in there with that one.
Where I drink paint water and Parker talks to our friends. Is that the tagline?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Oh my god, you found it.
What episode is this? It's
like 10.
10?
Our 10th one. 10th or 11th.
Wow, good times, good times. Hello, everybody, and welcome, Sloan! Oh my
Hi.
God.
It's me.
Tell us,
I'm here.
Tell us a little bit, before we get into the big old question, Sloan, tell us, what are your handles? Where can we find you? All those things.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Sloan, aka Artplebe. They, them. You can find me at Artplebe on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Tumblr, ARTPLEBE, and on Instagram at art.plebe. And that's pretty much everything. But in terms of programming and stuff, I am literally hosting the stream for Witches of Woodside tonight, right after this. And that is happening at 8:30 over on Fae Fiends and Friends. That's the letter N. And you can also find me here on Friday nights playing Barney the Half-Elven Druid for Off the Rails.
Our sad hot boy.
Yeah, other than that, I just do a bunch of programming and production development for Fae Fiends and Friends. So yeah, there you go. That's me.
We're so excited to have you. So excited.
Yeah.
I think that might be the first time that somebody has willingly plugged their Tumblr, which I appreciate you for.
Listen, I like to live on the edge.
I appreciate that.
Twitter is where I go for fun jokes. TikTok is where I go for D&D memes. But if you want to see me be a mess of a human being, follow my Tumblr.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, guys, here we go. Then, we're going to do some questions in a minute here. We're going to ask Sloan all their deepest, darkest secrets, and they're going to share all of them with us because we've got it in writing. They signed it away.
I signed it in blood.
It's true. Blood contracts, a big part of how the Twee operates. But in the meantime, we're going to do a few quick announcements. I'll start us off, and then Parker will fix everything that I mess up or forget. First things first, we are officially in the last day of November. And you know what that means, guys. We are doing noshave.org as our charity, so we would love for you guys to go on down, click on that donate button, and make a donation to our team for noshave.org. For those of you who don't know, No Shave November is a web-based nonprofit organization devoted to growing cancer awareness and raising funds to support cancer prevention, research, and education. It's a really good charity. It's near and dear to a lot of our hearts, so we'd really appreciate it if folks took a look. We've raised a good chunk of money. It's been very successful, so we really appreciate it. But hey, go click through, make a last little donation. 'Tis the season of giving. A huge thank you to our amazing partners, Soundtail, who brings the ambiance like this awesome tavern music going on right now, Arcane Anthems, who does the intro songs for a bunch of our shows, and also does some very cool free music that you can get by clicking on the Patreon link found in the chat, and Rillaris Maps, who makes amazing maps that we have seen in a bunch of our shows, Homebrew Worlds, Saltmarsh, all that jazz, and also helped a huge amount with our intro for Conundrum Company. So thank you to them. Thank you to our amazing mods who we love and adore, who keep up with my incoherent rambling every week, and anybody else who's writing announcements on whatever show is going on. We always make it difficult for them. Thank you to our sponsors, first of whom is Skull Splitter Dice. Guys, Sarah did a really good me impersonation in yesterday's one-shot of that. It was spot on. So we're going to soundbite that, and we'll just replace my name or my voice every time with that now. But Skull Splitter Dice, not only do they sponsor our channel, which helps us make this amazing content, but they also sponsor a giveaway. We just closed out this giveaway for this month, but there is going to be a new one starting with Off the Rails on Friday. You guys, it's a once-a-month thing where during our break, we open up the raffle, you put an exclamation point win, get your tickets in there. There's more details during the shows, but you get yourself put in for an awesome giveaway. Currently, the giveaway is a giant skull mug filled with about 100 dice. It's very cool. Skull Splitter is awesome. Thank you. Our second sponsor is Gooey Cube. People say to me all the time, hey Josh, what's a Gooey Cube? And to them I say, it is a square like a three-dimensional square that is sort of soft when you press into it. But it is also a company that makes really, really good D&D 5e supplemental materials, and you guys should check it out. They've got a Kickstarter going right now that is going to be building upon an already very well fleshed out world called Zaith. It is amazing. We've played in it. Sarah's DM'd in it. Parker's been an awesome character in it, like one of their pre-mades. It's fantastic. Please check them out. Their Kickstarter is still going. There's not long left to it. About a week and a half. So get in there. They are already wicked funded, but you know what? There's some good stretch goals out there. So get that funding going to them because we love us some Gooey Cube. They are good people. I think that's all the Josh stuff for today.
Okay, I'm here with the schedule. So you can join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. for our second house special where Josh and I believe Sean and a couple other people with Youth Pastor Ryan are testing the subclass, the Youth Cleric that they made on our first house special. You can find that on our YouTube if you want to catch up with it before you watch tomorrow. You can also catch our weekly campaigns December 4th, which is Friday. You'll have Off the Rails at 7 p.m. and then December 5th, Conundrum Company at 6 p.m. That's our schedule going into the week. We have a merch shop. This is my two things that I have on hand with me right now. But they're amazing. They're wonderful. And go check it out. If you're looking for gifts and you think somebody will, I love those.
I got that.
If you're looking for gifts and you want something, I highly recommend it. We are also now affiliated with Found Familiar Coffee. So you can use our code that's going to be in the chat right now by our lovely mods to get 10% off Found Familiar Coffee. They have D&D inspired coffee, which is super cool. And it's very, very good. And everybody that knows me knows I love coffee. I'll also be handling Sean's announcements. I always forget that. We have a podcast that comes out every Monday at 11 a.m. It's called Lore Dump. It's really fun. You can watch Sean and Josh be in love with each other and build a world. We have a sub-only Discord, so come join us if you're subbed. It's a lot of fun, has a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And as always, please make sure that you check out our socials. You need to be following our Twitter, our Instagram, and our YouTube to be entered in that giveaway by Skull Splitter Dice. And we're always updating our schedule and fun things there, too. So come hang out with us. That's it.
Oh,
Did it.
you killed it.
Wow.
You're so fast, so
Golly,
efficient.
that's so tight. Just so good.
Pro, it's like we do it like 3 or 4 times a week
like
at
we
this
do it all the time.
and yet we still make mistakes. Anyway, hey, do you know what time that means it is?
What time does that mean it is?
It means
Josh?
your deepest, darkest secrets are going to be revealed to the internet. But first, guys, we're going to ask our questions, but around the 30-minute mark, have your questions ready to go because you get a chance to ask Sloan questions. Just a reminder, and Park will remind you later, highlighting makes it a lot easier for us to see those questions. So if you can highlight them, we'd love you for it. Or if you see somebody else's question you really like and quote and highlight it for them, much appreciated. So consider highlighting it, and we look forward to seeing your amazing questions.
That's nice. Me too. I'm terrified.
Those are the real curveballs. Our questions, they're real, but they come up with the really deep questions. So.
Oh boy.
I
can't wait. I'm excited.
Here we go. Sloan, what's your mini painting experience, if any?
None, baby.
Okay. So what are you doing for us today? What are you working on?
I have my tablet here, and can I show the people?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, show the people. I'm doing a little bit of fan art for our weekly campaign, Off the Rails. Some of you might recognize this.
Oh, good.
This is Friend.
Good.
I am doing a little digital painting of Friend.
Friend the owlbear person.
Friend the owlbear folk. And I'm very excited to submit this later.
I'm sure we'll get it out there for everyone to share too. Get in that Discord. Oof. Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, so that's what you're working on. Parker, what are you working on?
I am going to be going back and detailing some of my larger works that I have learned to do shading and things now. So I'm gonna be fixing my Dragon Boys.
Yes.
A little bit more.
Sick.
That's so pro tier. I'm gonna go back
you.
and
I'm gonna go back and pull a Josh and detail stuff.
I'm painting a shambling mound who is already disgusting. We're going to get the rest of the brown painted onto him. There's a lot of it. And then get some red toadstools, I think. Maybe with some little white It's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Should
Aww.
be cute. Should be neat.
I love Shambling Mounds.
They are good
They're
monsters.
such a good monster,
They're
man.
the best. They're really cool.
I love them.
Okay, I mean, that's okay. That's my question. Parker, what do you got?
Yeah. Sloan, how did you get into D&D?
Very good question. So I was playing TTRPGs before I started playing D&D. My first TTRPG was actually 13th Age, and I started playing that about 5 years ago. And then, of course, I listened to Mabim Bam for a long time, and then they started doing the Adventure Zone, obviously, and I kind of got in on that. And through Taz, I found Critical Role. And at that point, it had been like a year since I had started kind of like understanding what D&D was. And then I made some fan art for Critical Role, and my friend saw it, and he was like, "Oh, I want to play this game." And so he was like, "We're gonna get some friends together, and we're gonna play some D&D. Do you want to play some D&D?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And so that is how I actually got into it. I made fan art, and my friend liked it, and he was like, "Let's fucking do this." So I said, "Yeah,
Let's actually play it.
let's actually play it." So yeah, fan art is magic. I say as I do fan art for my own campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, who's a bigger fan of their own campaign than the players, right?
I mean,
True.
especially when it's just such a wonderful campaign.
It is
It
a
is.
really good campaign. Sean's
You can watch it every Friday at 7 p.m.
off the rails.
Off the rails.
Okay. So you've got this kind of history where you picked it up, you started playing with a friend after drawing art. You've been playing for a while then. What's your favorite class to play?
It's like picking between your children. I've played every class at least once except for Bloodhunter.
Sure.
I think right now my big obsession is Paladins
Yeah.
because they just do so much damage. I just love the damage. Originally, I actually didn't like Paladins that much. Because I don't know what it was. I think it was just like the concept wasn't as interesting to me as some other classes.
That's valid.
I
You
don't
hear
know.
that fairly often too.
Yeah. But then I don't know when the switch came. I just like it was a couple of months ago, and I ended up playing a paladin in a one-off with my like home game group, and I was just like, oh wait, this is actually like it's kind of tight. Like this kind of slaps.
I feel like a
So,
badass.
and since then, I've just like, I mean, I recently played in Button's one-off in the library, and I played a paladin for that, and he was like so good. So good. So right now, gonna go with paladin, but it is a constantly shifting thing because I just love them all.
That's a good. I don't know if we've ever heard like it does tend to change, but that's definitely true. Like my favorite class definitely changes based on the flavor
Yeah.
of the month, or so to speak.
Yeah, that's a big mood. And also like the kind of character that I have in mind.
Yes.
It will often change like what class I want to play, because I just like the like trope or whatever kind of character you want to play. You know, they're the obvious choices like rogues or like edgelords or something, or like
and
paladins or
warlocks.
rogues and warlocks. And that's not always the case, but that does have an influence on like what class I'm going to play, or like the class will influence what kind of character it is.
Oh,
but
for sure.
Yeah. I know people main stuff super hard, but I rotate. Yeah.
So, in that same vein, do you have a favorite race to play?
It's the same thing. I'm so sorry. I am.
These
I
are
am-
our answers. Like you do not need to apologize for them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't have an answer for you. Listen. There's this joke that I'm non-binary and also bi/pan, and so I've never made a choice in my life.
I like that for you, actually.
And so I I don't really have a favorite, but I do have top, choices. I really like Drow. I really like Tieflings, obviously. I'm a big fan of half-elves. I feel like half-elves are so, like, they're so malleable. You know what I mean? But all of them have good things about them. But half-elves are, like, I don't know. I usually end up playing half-elves.
I really like half elves as well.
It's a big mood.
Oh, and they, as far as a story base goes, you can do so much with a half elf.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. Big fan.
Slaps the hood of the half elf. This bad boy can fit so many daddy issues
So
in
many
it.
daddy.
So many daddy issues.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then like I just like Drow for the flavor. I had a fighter rogue multi-class named Daya, and she was a Drow, and just like she was above the surface, and so she was covered head to toe all the time, and had a special pair of goggles that allowed her to see in daylight. And I just loved that aesthetic. It was so good.
I have a little Drow grave cleric that's in our chaos campaign offline that I just started playing, who looks like a gothic Lolita and carries a little parasol around
Oh, it's perfect.
whenever she has to be out in the sun.
She fits in really well with the wild magic barbarian and the goblin rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's real good.
I love it so much.
That's
Wild magic
awesome.
barbarians.
Yeah. Nightmare.
Oh my god. Nightmare. If we get to least favorite class, is there a least favorite?
Oh,
class?
that question is coming for sure. But before I
Not
ask
to
my
shit
question,
on wild magic barbarians.
there's a really important thing that I have to request of you, and
Yes,
just
here we
keep in
go.
mind that we do have your name in blood. I need you to just look right at the camera, really quick, and just repeat after me.
Oh god.
Artplebe, excuse me. I can
Artplebe. I Artplebe.
believe with all of my heart.
Believe with all of my. Is this about dwarves?
No,
It is.
dang it.
Believe with all of my heart.
The dwarfs are the best race in Dungeons and Dragons.
Fuck you.
You don't have to believe it. You just have to say it slow.
That dwarves are the best race in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. We're still going strong. Oh,
Eventual compilation of the.
thank you for
God.
doing that for me. It's important to me. It's the little things, and I
Josh,
really
it's
appreciate
because you're my
it.
friend.
You're
because you're my
you're
friend.
too good to us. I tell you what. Okay, now I'll actually ask the question that I'm supposed to ask, which is, what class do you want to try next?
Oh,
What's on the list? I know you've said you've played pretty much all of them.
I have. I've literally only not played a blood hunter, which I guess like I should at some point, just so that I can say that I did. You know what I mean? Even if it's just like for a one-off. So maybe blood hunter, just to like see if it's cool.
Like a bucket list, sort of.
Yeah, basically. I kind of treat the class list as a bucket list. That's how I've treated it in the years since I've started playing D&D. It's just kind of like, okay, and I'm checking it off. The first couple of months that I played it, anytime anyone offered, I would always play a different class because I was just like, I need to know all of the classes. But
I mean, that's valid.
yeah. I really do want to play another paladin. I know that's boring, but I do. I just love the Smitey Smite. It's just so good.
Them smites
It's
dough.
Yeah. Or like some sort of sexy sorcerer, you know what I mean?
Sexy. Okay, tell us more.
Oh, I really like the Phoenix Sorcerer UA. If you know me at all, you know that I love the Phoenix Sorcerer UA. And I potentially have another campaign where I might be playing one of those.
Ooh.
And I just think that it's just such a cool subclass. And, arguably OP, but I don't care. I like burning things and doing lots of damage. So that's kind of what's on my mind.
All right.
I like high damage output. Hey, I'm a simple man with simple desires.
Glass cannons. Although a paladin is but Barney certainly is.
Hey, listen. I love my 2 hit point boy.
Yeah, Barney may fall over when a wind hits him, but he will take an entire 3-block radius with him when he does.
That's all I want.
That legend already. Oh.
The ledge. Yeah.
So, is there a race that you haven't played that you want to try next?
I haven't played a Leonin yet, and I really want to get in on that. And I think the hippopotamus race, it's called, is it GIF?
GIFF, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Also one of those. I just think the flavor is immaculate. You know what I mean? Like, so good.
You want to roll in with laser rifles with your space hippos?
Oh my god, yes.
I'm really glad you're the first person to give that answer, and I've been waiting for somebody to give it, and I'm very happy that you did. Thank you.
Just to say GIF?
No, the GIF are such a weird little race that like not a lot of folks are aware of, and it makes me very happy.
It's just so fun.
They're neat.
And I would probably play them in like a one-off, because that's how I usually. I mean, most of my stuff is one-offs because it's so hard to find a campaign these days.
True.
Or one that like actually lasts because campaigns usually don't last super long.
Yeah, it's tricky to keep them afloat.
It is. But the good news is I've been contractually obligated to complete at least one campaign. I'm beholden. They have my blood. I can't do anything now. No, I'm kidding. I'm here of my own free will and I love it.
That's good. Thank you for clarifying that. Eventually somebody's going to be like, oh my god, those people at Tweet, they're monsters.
No. It is a joy and an honor to play with everybody here.
Well, on that beautifully kind note, we're going to ask the question you've been waiting for, which is, what is your least favorite class to play?
Fuck those wild magic fucking wild soul barbarians, man.
Really?
I don't like... I'm sure I would love to play them, but as a DM, I have to say that. Okay, to be clear, I love you. I love the pain you make me feel. But you do make me feel a lot of pain. And I'm speaking to wild soul barbarians here. It's just hard to DM those bad boys, you know?
So can you give us an example of how they hurt you this badly?
Yeah.
I want to know more.
So whenever they rage, right, they have to roll on their table. Mm-hmm. And if you are standing in the middle of an outdoor festival, right, and you're surrounded by commoners, and you get the one that does like an area of effect for damage.
Yes.
Every single one of those commoners is going to die. All of them. And then it just changes the entire trajectory of the mission that you're on, and then you have to deal with that.
Have you gotten to DM them since Tasha's changes?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I have not.
They've fixed some of that, I think. I haven't either, but I've heard they're a little better for it. But that is a very valid statement you are making.
Daniel just played a wild magic barbarian in the one-shot for cosplay ground yesterday.
How was it?
It was good. I mean, like, I think all the things on that wild magic table for him were all, like, buff things. So they weren't, like, gonna take any of us out.
That's kind of what Tasha's did, is they took all the negatives away from wild magic barbarians.
I see.
Or so I've heard. I haven't read it very thoroughly.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and now I feel like I'm being very negative. I'm so sorry.
No, you're
You're entitled to your opinion.
I also kind of like...
Sean gives me shit about Rangers all the time.
That's true.
And I have to let him have his opinion, so... Everybody has to let you have yours.
I hope that you all will forgive me for that.
I think everyone forgives you and appreciates your statement, yeah.
Yes.
But least favorite class to play is probably wizards. Sorry,
really?
Everybody. Yeah, I think that I mean I haven't played like Blood Hunters yet, so I can't. Maybe Blood Hunters is my least favorite class to play, but my least favorite class to play is either wizards or rangers. Sorry, Parker.
It's okay. They're very good in specific situations.
Yes, they certainly are.
And their aesthetic is very good.
They do have a really good aesthetic.
I know. I'm aware.
I know. I love them. Yeah, I don't know.
Wizards is an answer I don't hear very often. I'm curious about that.
I just they're not like my ideal character to play.
Fair.
Like they're like powerhouses, but they're not necessarily the kind of like mechanically they're not that interesting to me. To me, but you know, doesn't mean they're a bad class. That's just like that's probably the class that I play least often, which is how I'm deciding this answer.
Fair. Least interested to play at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a least favorite race to play, one that you've looked at and you've been like, no thanks, not my thing. You can say dwarves. It's okay. Hey, we've had that answer before.
Yeah, we have.
I'll go ahead and say, like, oh man. I mean, the real answer is no. I've never looked at a race and been like, I would never play that. Because I would play pretty much anything because I have a disease. But gnomes are they're not that interesting to me. Mostly because of that movement. 25 feet of movement is so small. And there are other races that also have that, but they kind of like make up for it in other ways. Like halflings are lucky, and dwarves are just built like
Perfect
brick houses.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, but you know, yeah.
That's valid.
I'd probably say gnomes. That's probably the race that I've looked at the most and been like,
Good.
you know.
So, kind of, you've kind of talked about your story getting into D&D, but how'd you end up in content creation? Like Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch? What's the story?
Boy.
Tell us your origin story.
Well, I feel like a lot of other people in this community, I started on TikTok, or I blew up on TikTok would be a better way to phrase it. Literally, I made because I've always been on the internet. I'm very plugged in. I'm a meme lord. And so like I've been on Tumblr since like the early, since like 2010s-ish, maybe earlier. And so like I've always been there. And I had tried my hand at other kind of content creation stuff, but none of it really stuck. And then I got to TikTok and I made a funny video about the fact that like my table was always horny for like a very specific subset of NPCs. And then it blew up. So I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm gonna keep making memes. People look at my memes here. And so I continued to do that. And then it just kind of continued from there. I have always kind of been into shit posting. If you look at my Twitter, you'll know that. But TikTok's where my stuff kind of like really got going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then I got into streaming and into like graphics work for other TTRPG stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
That TikTok bringing just a delightful person into the community.
Oh, Josh, stop it! I'm gonna cry.
Just saying.
Well, that was very cute, and now I have to ask another question.
Sorry.
So this is our very last question. So for anybody in chat, just so you know, this is the time to start highlighting your questions for Sloan. We will try and get to as many as we can, but if you highlight it, it's easier for us to see. So our very last question, though, is what is your biggest hobby outside of D&D?
I mean, I draw a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of drawing. I've started doing like commissioned stuff, so it's becoming more work and less hobby. But that has always been like my thing that I do. I've drawn my entire life. Have been addicted to it my entire life. Just anything that has to do with like graphics or illustration, anything like that. Big fan. Do it all the time. Other than that, I actually really like MMA. I do Muay Thai. That's pretty much. I like started doing jujitsu right before COVID happened, and then I had to stop, obviously, because quarantine. And I have not been back since that all started, just because you can't exactly get up close and personal with people without like risking getting sick, and so I haven't been able to do that as much. But those are probably my two biggest babies. Oh wow, there are so many questions in chat.
Yeah.
I adore this
I'll get
show
to that in just a second.
because I learn something new about people every time. Like my friends, I had no idea you did like MMA and
Me neither.
Muay Thai. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I love it. I'm not like particularly good at it, but I love it a lot. It is like the one form of physical exercise that I don't consider to be a complete drag.
Fair.
Because working out is just so boring for me. I don't know what it is, but it's probably something about my ADHD brain is just like, okay, we've done this for 15 minutes. Can we stop now?
Let's do something else,
Yeah.
please.
I feel that.
I'm tired of doing push-ups.
Don't
All right.
make me.
I want to kick somebody.
So I've been detailing, so I am free to ask questions, so you're good, Josh.
Oh, thanks, Parker.
So, let's see. How did you start with your idea in designing Barney? Was it an idea, a meme, a dirty joke?
Oh,
This is
Good.
Is Friday?
good.
Is
Oh,
Friday.
hi, it's Friday. Yeah, good question. So Barney, my boy. So now that slight spoilers. So Barney is a half of a druid, and he was a sailor on a drug smuggling ship.
What?
Shut up.
No one told me.
Oh no. And so super interesting. The concept that I was talking about before with like the Phoenix Sorcerer was a fallen star, right? And that came literally from watching Stardust, which is one of my favorite movies. And so I was thinking about that because I was thinking about trying to bring that into Off the Rails. And I was like, I don't really want to play a sorcerer. What else could I play? Druid's good. And then I remembered a conversation that I had had with someone where we had been talking about how like there have to be like druids on airships, you know what I mean? To like help with battling the elements. And so I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's it. Like he's a druid who was like on an airship, and that was his whole shtick, and that's how he started learning how to be a druid. And yeah, so that's where that came from. And then his name was literally something that popped into my head and I couldn't get rid of it. And I was like, am I really about to name my character one of the least sexy names on the planet?
Barney.
And the answer apparently was yes, because it would not leave my head. So there you go. That is
Sometimes
that's
they name
how-
themselves.
yeah, sometimes they just name themselves. I was like, I need to find a better name. And then I just never did. I was like, he was always Barney. So he was informed by one of my favorite pieces of media, Stardust. Love that
Nice.
movie. Yeah.
So let's see. The Library of Lost Tales, otherwise known as Azur, asked, what has been an unforgettable moment for you in game?
Oh. Just in general?
Yep. In general, on stream, off stream, D&D, other TTRPG.
Pick a moment,
Pick
any
poison.
moment.
Boy. I think one of my most like unforgettable moments was actually this is Daya, going back to her, my rogue ranger, or not rogue ranger, rogue fighter. She had a backstory where she had amnesia, and she had lost her twin brother in the Underdark, and he eventually made it back into the campaign, and there was a moment where he was like brainwashed, and she actually failed her last death saving throw at his hand. And like died. They were eventually able to revive her, but the moment that we played it out, that was one of the first times that I had cried at the table. And that was a very intense moment that I am not soon to forget, because it was, I mean, listen. When one of your characters dies, at least for me, it's like losing a part of yourself just a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
It's like losing a kid, losing a child in the grocery store. And it's so, yeah, it's so intense. And so it stays with you. And so that is definitely a moment that has stayed with me a lot
That's
for a
amazing.
long time.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Just a Singing Geek asked, what is your favorite moment in game that resulted from a nat 20 and or a nat 1?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember my nat 20s and my nat 1s as much. And there hasn't ever been a moment where like something extremely pivotal happened because of a nat 20 and a nat 1. Nothing that I can remember, which is probably just because I have a Swiss cheese brain. I think just any time where you have like the perfect mixture of like feats and abilities that allow you to like do extra attacks and bonus actions, so you take out like 3 enemies in one turn. That shit is so hot.
Yep.
It's so good. And there have been moments where that has happened. And so that's probably the best answer that I can give for that, is just like any time you just wreck someone's whole shop.
Yep.
Because of a nat 20. So good.
Let's see. The Auburn Alchemist, hi Kat, asked, what has been a character or experience at the table that affected you in real life?
Ooh.
God, that's such a good question. Shit. Actually, I'm going to talk about my Witches of Woodside experience a little bit here.
Okay.
So I recently was guesting with them as a character named Kismet, and they are a tiefling rogue, hellborn rogue. And a lot of their personality comes from my personality, which I don't know about you all, but that is often how I do things with my characters.
Yarp.
And they were parts of my personality that I wasn't entirely comfortable with, and that I still am not entirely comfortable with. Like, I'm a very sensitive boy, and really like talking about my feelings, and but I don't really know how people react to that kind of thing, and so I made them similar to me in that way. And the reaction from both the players and the fans when watching them on screen was like so warm and responsive, and like, oh, they're so good, they're so nice, I love them. Like, it was honestly kind of shocking to me, because I was like, oh wait, these are like good things. These are like nice things that people enjoy in a person, even if it's a fake person. Oh, that makes me feel better about the fact that like I am this way and I react to people in this way. Which made me feel a little more confident as a person.
Oh yeah.
And so that is probably my best example of that. And that has happened with a lot of D&D characters and just TTRPG characters. Like, I will take a part of myself and process it externally. And
Yep.
it doesn't always end in that way, where it's like, oh, I have a better understanding of who I am as a person and I feel more comfortable in my skin. But sometimes it does, and it's really nice when that happens. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
God, that's a great answer to that question.
It is. So this is a classic Stormcaller question. If you could play a monster in D&D, what monster would you pick? So if you could take a monster and put it as your PC, what monster would you pick?
Ooh. I feel like Displacer Beasts are so freaking cool, man.
I said the same thing.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Displacer Beasts are dope. I would either do a Displacer Beast or I think a Bahir.
Nice.
I feel like Bahirs are an underutilized monster. I say as I have like a distinctly lightning flavored PC, but like, come on, it's hot.
Yep.
That stuff is so good. But like Displacer Beasts are so neat. They're so cool. So
They
yeah,
really are.
easy peasy.
You were ready to go on that one.
Azur asked, is there a system outside of D&D that you particularly enjoy? If not, is there a system you would like to try out in the future?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Anything about Bolt?
yeah. Oh, did Azur say both?
Yeah.
Haha, Azur knows my bullshit. Yes, I freaking love Bolt. I talk about Bolt all the time. It is a really, really interesting system. I love its mechanics. Should I just explain like a little bit about how it goes? Okay, so basically, Bolt is a really interesting game. It uses a D10 plus a D4 as its resolution system. I have my dice next to me. And so you roll the D10 and the D4. The D10 kind of serves as like a D20, so it kind of like it meets or beats the like difficulty class.
Yeah.
And then the D4 serves a different purpose. If you roll a 1, you get a setback. If you roll a 4, you get a perk. And so it kind of like it makes it more likely that you have these interesting moments that would usually on a D20 only happen on a 1 or a 20.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it is super interesting. You have to do a bit of work because you need to get like Bolt is a system. It's not an actual game or a setting. It doesn't come with that. So you either need to build your own or you find somebody else who's built one. So I just ran a series. I just finished a series, 4-episode series on my. Oops, Siri, no, I'm not talking to you. on my Twitch, which my friend John built, and I played with my college friends. So you can see that if you want to. But I just think it's so much freaking fun. It's a little simpler than D&D, but like still just as exciting. I love it to death. Highly recommend.
So mathematically, that's a 25% crit fail or success modifier rather than a wow. That's really interesting.
That's cool.
So cool. And also, I mean, just I'm not trying to plug too hard, but we're gonna run another one. If the plan is in like 2 weeks, we're gonna start a Weird West long shot kind of deal. Probably 4 or 5 episodes. I'm playing a hot priest, which, as many of you know, is my bullshit. So,
Hey Sloan, what's the URL for that Twitch channel?
oh, you can find me at twitch.tv/Artplebe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Commune asked, when it comes to D&D playstyles, what's your favorite and why? Grimdark, sword and sorcery, modern fantasy, memeing, for example.
Oh, God. Just like the most tasteful combination of grimdark and memeing.
I love that.
Just the two of them together. So good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm also a huge fan of like well, that's not necessarily a playstyle. No, I'll stick with my answer. Grimdark and plus memeing. Because I really like the gritty shit. And then also like being able to like turn it on its head for a second and then go back into the gritty shit, you know what I mean? Because I'm a messy bitch who lives for drama.
I have a book I need to show you later. Remind me when you're done with.
Yeah. Books.
Just a Singing Geek asked, if you had to choose a class for yourself in real life, what would it be, and would you multi-class?
I mean, sorcerer. I'm so sorry. I'm so basic.
No.
I want to be a magic boy. I would like to be good at something without having to try.
Man, a whole mood.
That's amazing. That's the best answer ever.
I just want to be a gifted and talented kid, you know? That's it. That's all I want.
Tanner asked, Methallador asked, if you could cast Find Familiar in real life, what would your familiar be?
Okay, so I do have a dog, and her name is Ducky. And I think that she would probably be my familiar. But if I could have any other type of familiar, it would honestly probably be like a cat. Because I feel like Ducky has a lot of very cat-like qualities. She is very independent. Will, like, at the end of the night, she will go and put herself to bed. She'll just be like, I'm done. We're done here.
Merlin
And
does
then-
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 4 hours earlier than I do.
They'll just be like, okay, we're done. And then she'll go to sleep. So honestly, that would probably be what I would end up with. But if I could choose one, I would want to have, like, a crow or something. Because I'm a goth bitch.
Yep. Let's see. JJ asked, is there a type of class race combo you would really like to play? Or something you'd like to try in game? I know you said you're doing the Phoenix Sorcerer pretty soon, or
Yeah.
maybe. So,
That. Let me see.
anything else?
Palocks are like, they're pretty choice. I mean, like, sugar. It's like, I'm trying to remember the exact subclasses. But it's like Oath of Vengeance, Paladin, plus, what warlock is it? I can't remember. But my friend played one once, and he was telling me about it, and he just did like stupid amounts of damage. I feel like I'm just revealing myself to be like, I just want to do the maximum amount in per hit that I possibly can.
I appreciate that your characters, you're like, I would like them to hit very hard, but I would also like it to be without trying.
Yes, yeah. I want to be excellent at something. Listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I play D&D to be sexy and good at things. That is it.
Fair. What else do we honestly play for?
Nothing. Surely not the friendship.
JJ is asking a taboo thing.
Ooh.
Do you have a favorite character you created?
Ooh.
Danger
Choose
zone.
between your babies.
Danger zone. Danger zone. Danger zone.
I say it's taboo because I can never answer this question.
That's a tricky one.
Well, they're also good. They're also good in different ways. I will always have love in my heart for my first TRPG character. She was a ranger in 13th Age. And her name was Io. And she was also a character through which I tried to process things. She was... I suffer a lot from, like, analysis paralysis. And so she was a way for me to kind of, like, get through that a little bit. By just making a character where I was like, okay, this character is never going to think twice about anything. They're just going to do. They're just going to do it, and they're going to run into things and do exactly what they want to do. So I'll always have love in my heart for Io. She was a Spitfire. I loved her a lot. Yeah.
Now, we have to get Sloan off to another place, so we got time for like one or two more questions, my friends.
Oh,
just
Oh,
giving you
shoot.
all a
Hold
head.
on. I apologize. I'm just going to read some to see what we want to go for next and make sure there aren't any repeats.
I know. Sloan's a very, very busy person. We got to get him over to our good friends at Witches.
Okay. Let's go with... No Way asked, what's one of your top pieces of media that have inspired you to play when you play or GM TTRPGs? So you talked about Stardust. Anything else?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question.
It really is.
Oh, shit. See, this is where I reveal myself for the fact that I kind of live under a rock and that most of my ideas come from memes instead of the actual content.
All valid.
Oh, God. Sorry, everybody. My gears are turning so fast.
There's no rush. Just
Nah, you're good.
do you?
I really like Western bullshit. You know?
Like
Like the
cowboy.
classic Western movies.
Not classic, but like new Western.
Mhm.
Like Cowboys
Like-
versus Aliens.
Sort of. Did y'all ever see the remake of True Grit?
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
The remake of True Grit is like, it's so good, and the aesthetics are like so choice, and the mood is so stark. I really like stuff like that. Ooh, Treasure Planet has been a huge influence on me.
So good.
Treasure Planet was also a big influence on Barney. Gosh, Jim's theme is on Barney's playlist.
Yes.
So good.
Sorry, it was on my
I-
last character who died's playlist. Very
Hell
big
yeah.
Treasure Planet.
Oh, rip.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
love-
my dude.
I grew up on Star Trek, so lots of Star Trek. And
What Star Trek?
the original series. And then I also like I grew up surrounded by a lot of like religious influences, and so that also makes its way into my games a lot as well. It's definitely going to be in the Weird West's thing that we're about to do on my channel. So there
Nice.
you go.
So
Yeah.
we probably have time for one more, depending on how intense it is. Let's go with, I can kind of combine these. Jake asked, do you have a favorite spell in game? One that you always prepare and try to get for your spellcasters? And then Liz asked, what spell would you choose if you could choose one from any spell list that you could cast in real life?
I'm gonna be so basic here. The spell that I always prepare is Fairy Fire.
Good choice.
Always.
Fair one.
Big. I'm revealing myself as a support caster. And I mean, spell that you could cast in real life is like Fireball, right? Like.
Okay, how chaotic do you want to be, IRL? Because I was thinking like prestidigitation.
No,
like
no,
real
no,
world
no,
application.
no. Do you know how much you could change so much shit with a well-placed fireball? You kidding?
I really adore how everybody answers, and I'm like,
Oh
guys,
my God.
wishes on the table. Like,
But Wish is so dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
Wish is like high risk, high reward.
Think
I'm not
about
trying to
how
do.
much you do with prestidigitation in real life.
I mean, but like that fireball though, like.
Only if you like have the song queued up every time you do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is a classic.
Yeah,
That's a classic.
just queue it up.
You mean the one by Pipple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's on Kismet's playlist.
Yeah,
I love that
absolutely.
do, do, do,
I had a
do, do.
sorcerer that I DM'd that like he cast Fireball so many times that another person at the table queued it up on their phone.
Just ready to go.
And I was like, oh God.
Good. Love that.
10 out
I
of
feel
10.
so bad, y'all. I have only managed to like do the line art for this.
That's fair.
Well, you know, that's a really good segue though, because I think it's time to show our masterpieces to the audience before we leave. Parker, what do you got for us? How'd it go?
Oh, I was just detailing. Hold on. I did some more details on these babies. I don't know if you could probably tell if they're any different, but
Gorgeous. I love
you
the
go.
fade on those wings.
there's he and there's little one. But
Oh,
I
gosh,
added
so cool.
some black shade to this baby.
Love that.
My
Yeah.
Halloween dragon.
I am working. We'll save the best for last. So Sloan, that'll be you. But let's see what I've got here. Sorry, I'm pulling up my. I'm gonna make it so you can actually see it. Maybe.
Hey. Yeah.
Wow, it looks so good.
It looks
He's
so good.
still very wet, but
Makes
once he
so
dries,
much
he's going to be
progress.
solid, I think. So he is. These things are a hot mess to paint. I'll tell you that much, guys.
Made so much progress. That's amazing.
Sloan,
I'll see if y'all can even see, like, tell what's going on in this. We'll see. But here we go.
let's see.
All right.
Let's see it. Let's see this masterpiece.
This is friend. Here we go. Bring it in. Bring it in, everybody.
God, he's so,
I'm so
good.
excited.
He's got kind of Chewbacca vibes too, which makes me so happy.
He really does. I love
I
it.
put the little crystals in there.
Oh, yeah, look at
Crystal
them. Oh, that's legendary. Okay. I cannot
love
wait to
that.
see the finished product.
I'm gonna make Sean cry.
Oh, yeah, you are. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yes.
Sloan, thank you so much for joining us on Highlight Heroes. One more time, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Artplebe, ARTPLEBE on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Tumblr, and at Artplebe on Instagram. You can find me. I'm going to be hosting the Witches of Woodside episode tonight. It starts at 8:30. And otherwise, I'm doing a bunch of production stuff over on Fae Fiends and Friends. And otherwise, you can just see me on the internet showing my ass and all kinds of stuff. And also on Tweet. You can catch me Fridays playing Barney the Half-Elven Druid on Off the Rails.
Woo! Thank you, and thank you, audience, as always. Thank you, Parker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank y'all for having me. It's always nice to be able to hang out and chill, and I appreciate you so much.
We're lucky to have you.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Bye!
See you guys tomorrow.
Oh, yeah! Tomorrow. Woo! And you're out.